Welcome to Woodshop 101, a woodworking audio podcast geared toward the hobby weekend woodworker. Your hosts for the show are Jeremy Crawford and Drew Shore. Join these two different craftsmen for a lighthearted banter about everything woodworking, online education, and how they produce content. Topics could include the latest news, tips, tricks, and designs, to include furniture, crafts, and shop projects.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 35 of the Woodshop 101 podcast. Today we're going to be talking about failures in woodworking and are they acceptable? I am joined by my two other co-hosts, Jeremy Crawford and Sam Ramondi. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I'm doing good.
Sam, you liking this? This is your second one full time.
I know, I'm loving it. It's like, I'm really breaking records here, you guys. I got two guest hosts, now I'm on my second show. I think I'm here for keeps. You guys are stuck with me.
Hopefully our other guest hosts are not like, wait, what? I wasn't good enough?
Sorry.
Now we're going to actually have to start talking about when we're going to put guest hosts back on the show.
Yeah, because I talked to Matt at the show, and he said, "Oh, I know this podcast," because I gave him a sticker, and I said, "Yeah, we're gonna have you on again because you were one of our funnier ones."
Yeah, the one that didn't call us back when he said he was going to.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what about that. I let that slide, but now that you bring it up, I'm a little fumed.
Matt, you got to call us back.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's jump right into this topic, mainly because this show is quick, fast, and loose. So this is a failing in the craft, and is it acceptable? Let's just go ahead and start with Jeremy. What do you got? 2 cents on this?
No, it's not acceptable. No, all right, so absolutely. And I'm the one that picked this topic mainly because I'm the one with the most recent failure that at least that I know about. And it mainly was derived off of the sofa table. You know, working on that for well over a year and a half. When I say working on it, really just sitting in my shop half built. And once I finally got it done, I didn't like it and I threw it away. I just wasn't happy with the work. And at the end of the day, was I okay with it? Absolutely. Because I learned a lot working on it. And, you know, if you never fail, you're never going to grow your knowledge. You know, there's a reason, and I'm going to quote Batman on this.
My favorite person.
Well, at least his butler anyway. You know, the reason why we fall is so we can get up again, and that goes leaps and bounds, because if you never fail, you're never going to grow. So it's absolutely okay, in my opinion, to fail. You know, there's a difference between failing and quitting and failing and moving forward. If you're going to fail and give up and quit, then that, in my opinion, is unacceptable. That just shows that you possibly don't have the passion that you thought you did. But as long as you have that passion, failing is gonna push you forward. So, what about you, Sam?
No, I totally agree. I think sometimes, you know, there isn't growth without failure. You never know until you try, and it takes a few tries to get it right. You know, all right, maybe some people are perfect, but I'm not. And I know that it takes me a few times to get things right. And I do know, you know, if you're the kind of person who wants to learn more and become the best you can be at what you do, then you're going to fail. And you have to take those failures as life lessons, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and keep on going.
There you go. I basically look at failure as the experience in learning to achieve perfection. The thing about it is that perfection is an illusion. You're never going to be able to achieve it. Everyone is going to have a certain idea of their ability, whether it be in woodworking or anything in their life. If you don't fail, you won't succeed, because you'll never learn how to succeed. You may get lucky once, but that's not saying you're going to get lucky again. Just like Jeremy said, he thought he had the sofa table nailed, and to be politically correct, he ended up recycling it.
No, not recycling is reusing. It's, I mean,
somebody may have pulled it out. You never know.
Maybe, but I'm going to lean to say they didn't.
But in coming from the world of YouTube, viewers actually they take to the failures that you show them. They actually enjoy it because then they can see how you fix it. A lot of people can just easily edit that out and not even bother showing their errors or mistakes. But the viewers actually want to see it. They want to see the human side of the person that they are watching. And whenever we went and taught at Rockler down in Florida and in California, failure was a big part of it. We ran into a bunch of snags in the Florida visit that we took to the California visit. And even there, when we thought we had everything worked out, some other things popped up. And it was never as smooth as we would like it to be. But the feedback we got from everyone that was watching the build of the bookcase, where we had all kinds of pitfalls happen, we still ended up with a very nice piece of furniture. The people were happy to see that behind-the-scenes look, showing that we are not perfect, and our videos may reflect it sometimes, but in real life, we're not even close to that. So failing is a very acceptable form of learning in woodworking or in any form of life. I know that's deep, right?
Very deep.
Man, tugged right at my heartstrings.
You sure that's not your throat hurting?
It's probably my throat hurting.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of hard because people don't want to admit that they're failures. You know, they kind of feel like they've disappointed themselves or disappointed others. And I'm speaking from experience. You know, there's been times that I've not wanted to admit to a failure, but I'm learning to embrace it. In fact, you know, just yesterday working in the shop, you know, I screwed up using a tool, and I was using the Festool Domino, and I cut a mortise too close to the surface of the wood. I had to plug it and recut it. But, you know, knowing that I failed, it forced me to figure out how to fix it. And that's only going to help me later on in life. It's going to help me in later projects. And I recorded the entire thing. I recorded talking about the failure, how to fix it, and that will be in the final edit as well, because that's important. It's important for people to know how to fix a problem. Like, you know, if nobody ever showed their failures, then I wouldn't know how to learn from it, because there's been other people that have failed in the same instance and they show how to fix it. So I go and I learn. Okay, so when I have that failure, I pull that tool out of the back of my toolbox and I go, hey, I know how to fix that. And if you don't show that, then the one person that's following you or your videos won't learn, or they don't learn as much. So, and I think part of it's kind of, to me, is an integrity thing. I'm never going to put off the persona that I'm 100% perfect or even close to it. I want you to know that I'm just as real as you are. I'm learning everything just like you are. You know, I may be a little more advanced or not as advanced, but you're never going to grow unless you try.
Yeah.
So
I even did a dry run on this joint it video that I just posted. And in the video, it looked real smooth. But before I even started recording, I was trying to figure out another way to make the mortise in the adjacent piece for the tenon. And I even built, I wouldn't call it a fancy jig, but an unusual jig to try and do that with a miter gauge. And it did not work out the way I had hoped. I had bad gaps, and what I was trying to do was keep the wood from wandering, but the jig just didn't hold up the way I thought it would, and ended up scrapping it and restarting it from a completely different perspective. So, yeah, that's how you learn. You're not going to learn until you fail.
I think failures make you more creative. I think, like Jeremy was saying, you know, when you fail at something, you got to figure out how to fix it. And sometimes it's not conventional, but sometimes it's creative. And I think, too, you know, failing really helps build a lot of character and builds a lot of strength in yourself. If you fail at something and then you overcome that, you're like, wow, I rock. So, you know, I definitely think that failing is a really important part of the process. And anybody who tells you that they have never failed is totally lying. So don't listen to them.
yeah.
Yep.
And failure is not, when we're talking failure, we're not talking about you did something completely wrong failure is anything that is not, how to put it, it's not how you intended the outcome to be. So, on this project alone, I could have essentially said I've had a couple failures. I went into building this box with through tenons. The side pieces on the sides of the box were going to be through tenons through the front and the back. And once I started, I got the joinery raw cut and I started putting it together as a dry run, and I did not like how it looked. In my opinion, that was a failure. I didn't like the outcome, and I scrapped what I was doing and I went with a different way. And going that different way made me have another failure, another slip up, but I learned from it. And so it doesn't have to be something that is just completely wrong. It's just something that it didn't turn out how you intended it to turn out.
Sam, what kind of project have you done recently that is an example of overcoming failure?
Oh, goodness. That desk build that when I first met with you guys, and I told you that my pathetic plywood desk had to go and I was building this brand new desk. It was really hard for me, mostly because it was the first piece of real big furniture I've ever built. And, I didn't measure the drawers correct the first time, and then there was another time where I didn't center things properly, and I was throwing stuff around my shop because I was really pissed at myself. But then, the thing is, once it was done, I sit back and I look at this thing and I'm like, whoa, I built this. That's awesome. So, like I said, failure happens all the time. And it doesn't have to be a big project. I've worked on little projects where I've cracked a piece of wood off of a sign or a little thing I built, and yeah, it sucked, but you know what? I went and I rebuilt it, and it ends up being better the second time than it was the first time. How about you guys?
Well, yeah, that was kind of like the jointed video.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. I think we all named the examples.
Yeah.
So that's just
proof. Also too, I guess I'm stuck on. I feel like your sofa table doesn't count anymore. So Jeremy, because I feel like you're talking so.
It doesn't, and I'm at that point. It's done. It's over. I'm moving past it. And it, we've talked a lot about the dining room table, and I feel like that in itself is a failure because it's not completed when I necessarily wanted it completed. And now it's driving me a little harder or bugging me a little more, to the fact that I have the time now that I can do it and I really want to finish it, but I'm thrown up in the air. Do I finish it and take the risk on it being damaged and I have to repair it when I move, or do I send it as is and it's easier to repair unfinished, or do I finish it and move it myself? I don't know. And I've really been thinking about it. It consumes a lot of my thoughts day in and day out, trying to figure out the best courses of action. So hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll have a definite answer on how that's going to turn out.
Well, I would say going off of that too, sometimes people think of failures as oh, well, if I fail, that means I have to go through with it. But sometimes failures happen, and then the best course of action is to just let it go, and that's a win. It ends up being a win if it's something that, you feel like it's just not tangible anymore. So just because you fail doesn't mean that you have to get back and do it again. It means that sometimes you just got to let it go.
So judging from that little statement, the sofa table does count.
No, I feel like every time you talk about it, I'm like a therapist. You're sitting on a couch and you're recalling how traumatized it made you. So no, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Look, her degree's already starting to come.
Yeah, true. She's a doctor soon, remember?
Yeah.
1 year, guys, 1 year.
Oh, then we're going to have to change the logo again to be Dr. Sam Raimondi.
Sorry, not sorry.
So hopefully she won't be one of those, oh, it's Dr. Raimondi. Thank you.
Oh, no, she's definitely going to be.
Professor like that in school, and it was awful, and I always vowed I would never be that person.
Thank you.
Until she's that person.
No, she won't be.
I'm just messing with you.
This guy.
Well, if you guys have any feedback about your failures in woodworking, we would love to hear about it. If you learned something from it, if you gained a certain amount of knowledge from it to make your failure turn into a positive success, that is something that we would like to know. Be sure and leave us a comment, send us an email, or you can call us with a voicemail. I have a phone number for that if you would like, and that is the 409-234-3959. You will be able to leave us a voicemail there through any device, whether it be landline or mobile, and we can play those on air and use them as kickback on another episode. Or if you have a question that you would like to have answered on air, feel free to do so as well. You can also contact us through the website at woodshop101podcast.com/listen. You'll also be able to stream any of the episodes that we have through any device that you have on hand. You can contact us through our websites at DIYHuntress.com, rhwoodshop.com, and countrysideworkshop.com. There you'll find all kinds of ways and methods to be able to get in contact with each of us individually. So guys, that about wraps up this particular topic and episode. I think that was a really good insight to failures and how to overcome them and how they can affect your woodworking, as well as basically any form of way in life. So that was pretty cool.
I agree.
If you guys have any topic suggestions that you want to offer, feel free to do so. It will help us in the future bring episodes that you are more apt to want to listen to and to learn from. So from Jeremy, Sam, and myself, we want to wish you guys well. Be safe in your shops, and we hope to hear from you on a future episode. 1, 2, 3.
Boom.